What's up, everybody? Armchair Quarterbacks here for your Week 8 recaps. For this one, we've got 1-2 third rounders plus Rams versus Dear Lord Baby Jesus. That's Johnson taking the win with a score of 134.28 over Mikey with a score of 102.96. So taking a look at Johnson's team here, really quick, the big thing that stood out to me was Gerald Everett scoring a 0 for Johnson's team. Johnson didn't really take a look at the Sunday morning inactives because he was declared inactive before the game, so Johnson could have pivoted away from him. However, I mean, it didn't really matter for Johnson since he ended up with the win. Now, taking a look here at Johnson's team, he did start Trevor Lawrence, A.J. Brown, Tyler Lockett, Travis Etienne, Raheem Mostert, again, Gerald Everett, Gabe Davis, and Chris Godwin. Trevor Lawrence came out with the win over Pittsburgh. His stat line was okay. He did end up having a touchdown, but he did also throw for another interception. He had 292 passing yards and 32 passing attempts. So we're still seeing the average of about 30 passing attempts for Trevor Lawrence, which is decent. If he can start upping the passing attempts to the 40s, that's going to be a little bit better for him. And I think that'll work out better too for his running back, Travis Etienne, who's also a pass catching back. As you see here, he had 6 targets and caught 3 of them for 70 yards and a touchdown. So the 3 receptions, that's a big thing right there because he can actually catch the ball. If Etienne, let's say, gets 7 or 8 targets, it's possible he can have 4, 5, 6 catches. And again, the 70 yards. And with all those catches, it's more likely he'll get that touchdown. He also did have a pretty beast game on the rushing attempts, 24 rushing attempts. Before this, his average was probably low 20, maybe 20, 18, 19, somewhere around there. So seeing the amount of rushing attempts that he had and even getting involved in the passing game is really great for Johnson's team here. That helped him out immensely. The other thing that helped him out really good was A.J. Brown going off. A.J. Brown was 100% catch rate. He had 8 targets, 8 receptions, 130 yards, and 2 touchdowns. If those 2 touchdowns weren't there, he would have still had a pretty decent day. I believe you're looking at roughly 20 points, somewhere around there. So, it's something you can't complain about here with the 8 and 130. That's something that you want to see, and you're going to love to see it every time. This is what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, his 6th game in a row going 100 plus yards. That is redonkulous, dude. So you love to see that. Now, the other thing that was pretty good for Johnson's team here, Gabe Davis. If you were watching the game, he had a ton of targets, 12 targets. And game script wise, it wasn't anything where it was like the Tampa Bay defense was locking down Stephon Diggs or anything. It was just more so they wanted the Bills felt like they wanted to really get Gabe Davis involved, and he got involved. 9 for 87 and a touchdown. So if he continues to get involved like this, you're gonna love to see this. Now, taking a look at Johnson's bench here, Johnson left DeAndre Hopkins on the bench with 35.8 points, as well as Garrett Wilson with 15.1 and Jackson Smith-Njigba with 11.1. So let's start with Jackson Smith-Njigba. He's looking pretty decent as of late. He's starting to see a little bit more usage in the offense, and I don't know if that's a byproduct of, it's probably a byproduct of DK Metcalf having to deal with a little bit of injury. Tyler Lockett, he's been dealing with a little bit of an injury, and he's also getting older in age and in the terms of being an NFL player. So Jackson Smith-Njigba, I believe, he's still going to pretty much ride your bench for the most part, but he's starting to get some usage, so keep an eye on him. Garrett Wilson, he's got a pretty up and down schedule coming up, but he's still seeing wide receiver 1 numbers usage for his team. 13 targets, 7 receptions for 100 yards. Add a touchdown onto that, and then you're going to love his day. So I think you can still look to utilize him if you need to, depending on the matchup. Now we go over to DeAndre Hopkins. Oh my goodness. This dude was beasting. So he wasn't utilized a ton in the offense in terms of passing targets. He only had 6 targets, but he caught 4 of those for 128 yards, which is on average like 30-ish yards, a little bit over that. But he had 3 touchdowns. So I think that's a big benefit. I think that's a big byproduct of Will Levis being the rookie quarterback who's taking over, or at least who started in this game, who's not afraid to throw the deep ball. So if Will Levis continues to play quarterback for the tight ends, or for the Titans, I think DeAndre Hopkins is going to hopefully become his favorite target, and you're going to want to play him. He's going to become a must start eventually at some point. All right, so let's take a look over here at Mikey's team. Mikey this week started Jalen Hurts, Devonta Smith, Christian Kirk, Christian McCaffrey, Tyler Algier, Dalton Schultz, DJ Moore, and Josh Downs. So this stack finally worked out for Mike. Jalen Hurts and Devonta Smith. Devonta Smith actually had some usage. He had 7 targets for 7 receptions, 99 yards, and a touchdown. He almost got that bonus point for you, Mike, with the 100 yards, but he was still used very often, and this is what you want to see for Devonta Smith. Jalen Hurts, this is what you want for Jalen Hurts. He had 300 plus passing yards. He threw 4 touchdowns, and he wasn't as involved in the rushing game this time, but it wasn't necessary. The passing game was working out pretty decent for them. Christian Kirk, this was kind of a down game. I think this game script was just kind of, not really in his favor. I think Travis Etienne ended up getting more work. Christian Kirk, he had the targets, had the looks. It just wasn't working out for them, and the Jacksonville Jaguars needed to go somewhere else. But Christian McCaffrey, what can we say about this guy? He will produce for you week in, week out. 12 rushing attempts for 54 yards and a touchdown. 6 receptions for 64 yards and a touchdown. That's over 100 scrimmage yards for the game, with an additional, that's 19 touches on the game. You're going to love that. I don't think, if I remember correctly, he stayed in this game because I believe the 49ers were down most of the game. So I don't think he came out. It was just the Cincinnati defense was playing pretty decently, but obviously not decently enough to slow Christian McCaffrey down. I sent you a text about, I don't know why you started Dalton Schultz. Again, that was a toss-up. I don't know there. But same thing here. I don't know. I'm not sure why you started Algier. I would have probably looked to start somebody else. Let's take a look here. Yeah, see, that was pretty rough. You didn't have much in terms of running backs to take over for him. But Cole Kmet, I would have probably started him over Dalton Schultz. The Chargers have been a pretty leaky pass defense, so it's one of those things where Cole Kmet, he saw some pretty decent usage with the Chicago rookie quarterback. So, and especially in this game, 10 targets, 10 receptions for 79 yards. We couldn't have predicted that because he didn't play in the game last week. But, now moving forward, you can assume that the rookie quarterback, Tyson Bagent, he will probably look for Cole Kmet, at least in some of those checkdowns, those short yardage area plays. So look to possibly start him. I think you could probably drop Dalton Schultz. I don't think you need to hold on to him. I think you were probably chasing this 11, 16, 14 points streak, but it's not consistent. Tight end's not a very consistent game. But Tyler Algier and AJ Dillon, those two players, I would look to possibly move on, trade. But the rough part is you're going to have to give up a piece. You might have to look at giving up Montgomery or Devonta Smith or Christian Kirk. So be willing, be looking to make those trades. Now you had Josh Downs here with 7 receptions and 72 yards and 9 targets. So again, he's getting usage with Gardner Minshew. Keep an eye on this guy because, you know, he's a really pretty good looking rookie wide receiver. So you're going to want to hope that he's going to continue seeing high usage. And I believe, you know, Gardner Minshew likes to look for Josh Downs in the end zone. So once they get to the end zone, the red zone area, look to see Josh Downs, if Josh Downs gets any of those touchdowns. You know, that'd be really cool. All right, but that'll be it here for this. Oh, you know what? I forgot. I wanted to talk about Rashid Shaheed for you here. So Rashid Shaheed, I know you picked him up after this 18-point game, and then next week he went and had the 5-point game. So he's going to be an up and down player for you. I actually don't think you need to hold on to him, only because the team still has Chris Olave. They still have Michael Thomas. So and then they still have also, you know, Taysom Hill and Alvin Kamara. So he's going to be like one of those players that's not necessarily looked at very often. So these boom games are gonna pique your interest, but you're not gonna see that very consistently. So unless something happens crazy with the depth chart for the New Orleans Saints, I don't think Shaheed is really worth stashing, but that's up to you. Again, you could use him as trade bait for a different trade to hopefully improve your running back room. All right, but that'll be it for this recap here. Congrats, Johnson, on the win. Good luck next week, Mikey. And we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.